Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Welcome to all of you for these gatherings to prepare for the great month of February. So today we're going to talk about the history, all the environment, the concepts that helps us to understand why are we doing this February. Hmm? Um, so as you see, I have here, I painted this map in my wall but it's also a board, so I can write all the notes that I want to share, but also I have this board. So in case I need to write something closer. So let's begin with the history of our gathering in 2022. There are many things to say, so I will try to summarize them all. So there are many things to talk about, uh, but for sure, this that we are going to do in February is not only related um, to a human history, but is a universal history. It contemplates many huge things. So we will start from the cosmic and the universal point of view. First of all, let's do the difference between universe and cosmic. The two usually are used as synonym from one another, but actually they are much more focused in one specific aspect. Like for example, universe. Universe means the one path, or everything comes back to one. Universus. Okay, everything bends into one. So it's talking about the things that come to one related to a physical aspect. So the universe is talking about the physical and spatial things. So it's talking about space, the universe, all the things that you can have in this one reality. Okay. So when we speak about universe, when I mention universe, we're going to be talking about space. And when I mention cosmos, which is the Greek word for order, this means time. Cosmos is equals time. So they are not synonyms, but they kind of are aspects of the same thing. Okay. So cosmos is actually the time, meaning the order in all those other things, is the system in which all the rest has sense, gets its meaning. Hmm? So that's why we will talk about the point of view of cosmos and the point of view of universe. Hmm? Time and space. So first of all, what is the origin of the network? So we had spoken about this a lot, so I will just go straight to the point. So let's begin with the point. Everything starts with one point in the universe, which is called the universe. Universe is one coming, turning to itself. Okay, so only one. Uh, so there will be one point in which this only one will be divided in two. So we have a negative and a positive, is the origin of polarity. So the universe becomes the diverse. Di, meaning two in Latin. Okay? Uni, di. One, two. Okay? Duality. Diverse. So now, this one here, the internal aspect, divides itself into an external aspect, allowing the internal one to have a different point of view of itself, so it changes the vision of itself. Now the internal aspect can know itself better because it has a different point of view. Okay? So this new perspective we call data. It's data. So we have a different point of view and we are having like an archive of data. This data is in a constant formation because the universe is trying to form, to give a form to something. So the process of being in form we call information. Okay? Information is the process of being constantly connecting data to understand itself. That's what it means, information, to be informed. Okay? So the universe, dividing itself into two, allows itself to create a network of data in constant information. Okay? So that would be perfect. I hope you got that. Okay, so now this only one here, the negative that divides itself to change its point of view, will create another one that will also do the process of formation, trying to shape itself into something different, charging data. So we have one, and then two, and then it splits again into three, and it creates a constant network of information that divides itself into different aspects, once and again, in constant formation. Hmm? This is a network. Okay, so we have here that the best example that we have in our life, in the nature, regarding this network of constant information is synapses. Synapses is the action that one neuron takes with another neuron, sharing data, sharing information. So that's what we have constantly in our mind. That's the thoughts is constantly sharing data. Okay, so you can check the video of the nervous system that I already did once. Um, so it's not only synapses in our brain that works in a network. Everything in the universe works like a network. Like, for example, the atoms. So these are, for example, subatomical particles that gather to create an atom, and different atoms creates a molecule. So it's a different network of information that connects everything. This is why the universe is basically networks. It's all networks sharing data. Okay, there's a network of subatomical particles, a network uh, of atoms, a network of molecules, a network of chemicals, a network of biology, a network of thoughts, a network of ideas, a network of emotions, a network of energy. So we have networks all around. There are millions and millions of networks in the universe that connects everything. Hmm? It's just data. So what would we have here? That this particle here is the universe, is only one thing, but then it projects into the other one that gives a balance, harmony in the process. That would be the cosmos. Okay, so here we have universe and cosmos, also known as time and space. Hmm? Okay. Okay, so what we have here is a network of universe one that are coming to itself. It's universe, is the unity coming back to itself once and again. And in that process, the universe starts to create a path, a way that we call the cosmos, through time, past, present, and future, through eternity. Hmm? Okay. So this means that the only one being in the universe will split itself into millions of different other beings called the nodes of a network or the hearts of the beings. So all of them are the different hearts, or if you want to use a much more cold expression, data. We are the data and the information. We are just data. So this is the structure of the networks in the universe that is designed from the subconscious. Then it goes um, to the unconscious, and after that, it gets conscious. So let's see how that process goes. So the first thing that emerges is the subconscious. The subconscious is um, is basically what is under, the things that you cannot understand, the things that are difficult to get because they are not connected. They just exist. They are just the elements of existence, but they don't have any meaning, just a few dots around. Why do we call it the subconscious conscious? Let's try to understand this. This I explained many times, but I summarize that again. So, what is consciousness? Con means with, together. Hmm? And science comes from the word schinder, that means to cut, Mhm. To cut things. So it means that the parts are cut. That shins. So science is the action of cutting the parts or looking into the parts. Okay? So science is the one that says, this is a part, now I get it. This is a part, now I get it. So it's the study of the different parts of reality. That's science. Okay? So when you add the conscience, it means that now I understand the logics between all the parts. Okay? So all the parts now have a logic. That's why we can call it conscious or consciousness. Okay? That's the origin of the word. Entonces, ¿qué sería? So now, what is subconscious? Subconscious, sub means under, sub, under. Okay? So subconscious is the logic that is under something that I cannot see, that I cannot relate. Hmm? Okay. Then we have the unconsciousness. Hmm? What in means? So, in conscience or unconscious can mean inside, which means I am inside this, or can mean out, because it also can mean that I don't get it, that I am out of this. Okay? So, in of this or out of this. So, what is unconscious? It means that now you connected the different parts that before you couldn't see connected. Now you can connect them, so you have a pattern. These three logics now has only one logic, and this logic is like a pattern, is a shape that you cannot change. So for example, the first and most easy way to explain unconscious is when you have mom, dad, and the child. So that would be mom, dad, the child is the first trinity that is in unconscious. Okay, because it's a pattern of different parts, hmm, that are stuck. It's stuck like that. So what is conscience? Conscience is when I unite all of this and transcend the vision of this trinity, of this pattern, so I can overcome, position myself into a different point of view that can transcend this pattern. Okay? So you put yourself over and you change the structure. Hmm? So we have three different types of consciousness. The subconscious is the network that connects all the data that exist and that you cannot relate. You have no clue that all that information is connected. Then we have the unconscious. The unconscious is the groups of data, of networks that are stuck in groups, like a biological group, a cultural group, a family group. So it's like data that is attached to a pattern, to an existence pattern. And then we have the consciousness, or the conscience like that. That means the network of people or beings that accomplish to understand the logics between all of that, and is able they are able to take all that information and to create something different that is transcendental from the ones before. That's why when we speak about the the network of consciousness is not something apart from a network of the unconscious or the network of the subconscious. It's not different. The network of consciousness is when you take all the data from the unconscious and the subconscious, you put it all together, and you give a new meaning to overcome into a new shape, into a new form, to create transcendental existence. Hmm? Okay? So, what is the goal here? Now in February, when we all go there to build this network of consciousness, it's not that we have to be conscious people in order to weave that reality. No, we are the unconscious ones that we bring all our patterns, all our emotions, our preconcepts, our expectations, our traumas, and all our history of life or family. And we bring all that to that gathering, which is our unconsciousness, to put all all this subconscious together, all these different thoughts that were separated all together, so we could intention to put all that information as one to transcend into consciousness. Okay, so that's why we are the unconsciousness willing to become conscious, accepting that we are the unconscious. Okay, um, so what happened? So now talking about the history, what happened when the subconscious creates a different networks that eventually makes the network of the atoms create a network of chemicals. The network of chemicals creates the network of biology. The biology creates a different network of cells that accomplish to create a being that is able to think about itself. And once that being is able to think about itself, is created the idea of civilization, of culture. This being is like saying, now I can think about myself. So you create a conscious and aware being. So this network of evolution allows the different data of the universe to create new networks of beings that are able to think about themselves. Hmm? So eventually, this process of evolution makes that beings that before saw the things by separate, like there's a tree, there's a dog, there's a human, there's an atom, there's things. They start to understand the logics and the connection between all that, and suddenly it becomes completely aware when it says, wait a moment, I am part of that, I am the logics that connects all that. So that being is able now to create a culture, a civilization based in consciousness. So an individual that accomplished to find out that consciousness is able to create a culture that is conscious, a civilization that is conscious, and even a species that become conscious. And that makes a planet become conscious. What does it take to become a conscious planet? That suddenly we become part of something that we can call a network of conscious planets or conscious worlds. Hmm? So a new network of conscious planets is created that they work by resonance. I don't actually know how many hertz each planet is vibrating, but this is just for us to get the idea of what I'm saying. Imagine that Vega vibrates in 432 hertz, Sirius in 410 hertz, and Earth in 440 hertz. Okay, so let's try to mention that. So hertz would be the vibration of the atoms, how many vibrations it has. Let's suppose that Sirius starts to rise up its vibration to 432 hertz, for example. Hmm? So what happens when you have the same frequency here and there? That now Sirius and Vega are part of something called a network of conscious planets. Hmm? If Earth has these 440, so it cannot listen to the vibration here. So it has to tune itself in order to receive the same data or information. Okay? Today, the Earth is not in that network of conscious planets. Hmm? From the planet Earth, we know this network of planets as the Confederation, the Galactic Confederation. Mhm. What it means a confederation? Con is with, a gathering. Fede means faith, action. So it's the action that takes a conjunction or a or a group of beings that share the same faith to one another. Okay, so that's the confederation. So in the universe, um, it's not political thing. In the universe, is much more vibrational. Hmm? So what is faith? Is the confidence or the that you have in the other because you resound with the other. Resound, you have the same frequency, the same sound. Hmm? Um, so when you resound with someone, it's because you have the same vibration, the same frequency. Okay, so that's why faith is basically the trust into the information of the other because you have that frequency. Hmm? So do you remember what is the goal of the universe? What why the universe wants what is what the universe is willing for us to do? Do you remember? It seems a huge thing, but actually it's not much. Um, what is the goal of the universe? Basically, to generate data, information. The universe is constantly looking for data, information. That's why it creates networks of things. It tries to connect one thing to the other. Is expanding, experimenting, integrating, transcending. Is constantly trying to look for new data and looking for a lot of things. Okay, to complete an idea. Uh, so when we are talking about, for example, energy, that the universe is trying to storage energy and save energy, is basically because it wants to have all the information compact and having that very well prepared. All that information all together. So if we take that idea that the universe is trying to look for more data and create much more information, we can understand now why the Confederation is trying to help planets to evolve into consciousness. Now we can understand why these planets are willing for the Earth to become conscious. It's not because they love us or because they want for us to be happy. It's basically because they want to transcend one system to go into another. And the only way you can do that is by connecting all the planets that are evolving in life to become conscious. Okay? That's simple, basic thing. um, so let's kill the magic here a little bit. Because of course a lot of people could believe that beings from other planets are willing for us to be happy and they want to help us to become conscious and aware planet because they want for us to live happily ever after, but it's not that. Actually the universe wants information, and if Earth, that has a lot of information, doesn't reach the perfect amount of resonance in order to be connected to this network, so they cannot transcend their own reality. So we need a network of beings to connect much more data in the same frequency in order to create new realities. Okay, so I'm sorry to kill the magic here, but this is a little bit more for someone that does electricity than a Reiki person, but we can put the magic after that. But actually, it's like that. It's all about data, trying to expand the awareness of the universe by creating new realities. And that's why many high level beings wants for us, the world, the planet, to become conscious. Okay. Um, so, yeah. This is why, if we are willing to become a conscious planet, we have to open ourselves. Otherwise, we are repeating the same pattern once and again. It's like repeating in a loop every history once and again because we don't change our vibration. So if we open ourselves to resound with the other planets, we can download also their information. And I will give some examples. As an example, we can tell with our own history in the last century. We have been living a history of racism, of dictatorships, kingdoms, um, um, the um, people killing people because of their thoughts. I don't know, all these horrible things that we have been living in this history of oppression. But suddenly, in the past 100 years, a lot of people started to fight against that, and they accomplished uh, human rights. So, in the last 100 years, every day, every year, much more, we started to have much more human rights. And with that, in the past 60 years, we had all the advances in technology in society that never in history of humanity we have had. So um, it's because we accomplished our freedom, or at least a part of our freedom um, of choice, that of speech, of being free of sharing information, that we started to download such a huge data of information. And how all that information came from? It came in dreams, in emotions, in expectations, in channelings. Okay. um, so this is why, as much free we get with ourselves, much more data can we download from other planets. This is why when we set ourselves free, there's no need for someone to come in a spaceship to give us technology. We can just dream about that technology because it's in our frequency. Okay, so that's why we can channel other worlds without the need for them to come. When this network of planets were expanding in the universe, one of the planets that they saw that has the potential to become aware was the Earth. So the Earth is one of those planets that has the power, the inner power, to become um, one of those planets that help in the transcendence. So that's why many of those beings came to this world to help the evolution and taught us to create aware civilizations, pyramids, and so on. So we can use the nodes of this network in order to connect and to become aware as a planet. Throughout our ancient history, these other beings have been sending data and information so we can reach as a society, as a planet, an expected level of consciousness. So, of course, that every planet has a cycle. So sometimes winter, summer, they just um, get down, they shut down. So you have to reset or restart the system again. So one of the things that they taught us so we could reset the system is that in order to be connected to the network of all the planets, the interplanetary network, what we have to do is to use properly the planetary network. So through the planetary network, we can access the interplanetary network. And the keys that they gave us is that this network is universal and cosmic. Where is the universal network? The universal network is in the physical aspect, in the space. That means that the universal network can be connected through the nodes of different spots in the planet. So how do you connect to the entire network of the cosmos from the universe? That would be through time. Through time. Cosmos is time. So in order to access the cosmic network, you have to go to the dots and then work in the past, present, and future. Past, present, future of this node. Past, present, future of this node. Past, present, future of every node. So once you connect past, present, and future from each one of the nodes, what you have is the connection between the networks of cosmos and the network of space. So what is past, present, and future in terms of space? So what is past, what is present, and what is future in terms of the universe, of space? That would be, for the past is the body, for the present is the soul, for the future is the spirit. So in the past we have the body, also can be known as the physics or the matter. Present, which is the soul, can be also known as the emotional or energy, and future can be also known as mind or vibration. We spoke about this many times. So what this means that every node has a past, which is the physical aspect. Every node has a present, which is the soul, the emotion that promotes the energy of the place. And everyone has a future, which is the vibration, the mind, the ideas, the concepts that it has. So this means that each one of those nodes creates a connection of a network that is from the space and time, which is the cosmos and the universe. So what does this mean? That there are specific spots, places in the world that in a specific moments can access to the network of the universe and the network of the cosmos. That's why there are places in the earth that we call portals, and that's why we have moments in the year, a day, that we call portal. These portals are the ones that allows us to access to a bigger network than ours. So now, there are no specific places or specific moments that are called portals, and those are the only ones. Every second and every spot of the planet and every second of the year can be a portal, but they can be portals to different networks. So it's not that there is only one moment related to one planetary position. No, all of it can be a portal. So the question would be, to which net are we gonna connect? Which one are we gonna uh, be aligning to? Thing is that in the past, beings from other worlds were able to send to us the map and the designs of how to build the pyramids, which are the structures that allows us to go through that information, to connect to that. 12,000 years ago, they started to build the pyramids. They started to create all this network of consciousness around the planet in a physical way. So they spread along the world with these ancient civilizations that built these structures. But there is a problem, that structure can be moved by the geomagnetical pole, the geomagnetical field of the planet. In order to be able to access to that information, even if the network was moving around because of the North Pole moving, so they needed to find an axis to all that data. And that axis is Egypt. Egypt is the axis of the world, and this is why all the I Am project was taken there. I did the whole project in the axis of the world. So what is the axis? The axis is a guide point that helps us to know that if the network starts to move around, to spin, so we can always find this dot to start again, to reestablish the network along the planet again. So Egypt is that place. 12,000 years ago, they built the pyramids to connect to all this network of information. But they knew in that moment that 12,000 of years ahead, we would start to rebuild the network in a different way. And the moment when internet was out, that is the moment when we have to start again to build the network. So since internet, we start to connect again the network. So now, to understand this, why do we go to certain spots? From the past, an aspect of ourselves, from the past in other lives, some of us are being guided by our past moments in certain places to know why we are here and what we have to do. And from the future, they are indicating us how to do it. So from the future, from the past, in the present, we are connecting the dots in places, physical places. That's how we start to connect the cosmos and the universe. That's why we remember past lives and we channel the future. All of this must be done during the beginning of the age of Aquarius, which is starting in these years. So in the past, what they did was to try to find frequencies, specific frequencies that would work as keys to open the doors for that frequency. And those keys are 45 and are the Atlantean letters. This is why in the event, we will have 45 groups representing the 45 letters. These frequencies are the keys, the frequency keys to open inside the pyramid. These 45 must vibrate and resound through the past, present, and future spirit or soul, spirit, soul, and body of every one of the nodes in the axis of the world. This is why in each one of the persons that is going to the event will represent specifically one node in the past, which is the physical, in the present, which is the emotional, and the future, which is the mind, the spirit, and altogether one letter. I will explain this in the next videos, of course. So why February? This is because of a code, universal and cosmic code, that I remind you again. The number related to time is 8. The number related to space is 12. The 8 is an octahedron, past, present, and future. 8 faces. And the space is 12 because it's the dodecahedron. So the combination between these two is what shows you the sphere and the axis of the world. This represents the 12 nodes, that actually the sphere is 32 because it's 12 plus the 20 nodes around. So the 32 nodes of the planet, which represents the sphere of the dodecahedron, connected to the axis of the world, which is in Egypt through time. So 8 and 12. So we will understand the code, the moment, through the mirrors, the mirror time, which is cosmos and universe. So the code 8 of time, we get it from 02/02/2020. So February 2nd, 2020 in the mirror. And then the space one is the February 22nd, 2022. Como pueden ver, es un espejo, ¿sí? Se lee igual de un lado que para el otro. As you see, it's a mirror. It's how you see from one side to the other is the same. This means that our dates representing a mirror point between all the times and all the spaces. So, of course, we have here 224, 2248, 448, 2226, 2226, 6612. Okay? So we have 6 faces up, 6 faces down with its positive and negative. So positive, negative. Each 2 is the duality. So it has the polarity, the perfect polarity for space and time. So, and here we have the octahedron with 4 above, 4 below. What reminds you this? What is that? Here you have the pyramid. So the sphere of the planet within the pyramid is the activation of time and space. And because of that's why me personally, and for sure many of you, can remember lives in Egypt. Once you get all this, you can understand that the reason why I remember all this? Well, I remember my past life from 12,000 years ago, and all of you know me because of that. I remember my past life from Atlantis from 12,000 years ago. And the reason why I exactly remember that life and I did everything that I do regarding that life is basically because of what is going to happen next month. This is why I can tell that in March, my story with all the Atlantean history and Egypt will end. Um, I will accomplish what I have come to do. Because everything that I remember from that time was to do it right this February. And I know that many of you have been there somehow. So that's why we are coming back again. Um, um, sorry, my cat wanted to come. Um, um, he, he knows what is this about. So it's funny that he came here because um, um, when I started to remember all these my past lives and all the universe and all this information, I felt really unprotected because many dark beings were attacking me all the time. So I asked my guides, what should I do? How can I protect myself? And they said, you need a cat. And I was like, okay, I need a cat. But I was the village where I was living in. There were no cats at all, so I was really worried. I was feeling really bad. And that day, I asked the universe, "I need a cat. I want a cat." So I went back to the school and I found this little cat like this in the door of the fireman, um, and and since that time he was protecting me, like taking care of me in other dimensions. And so uh, and um, it's incredible that he has now 19 years old and a cat doesn't live more than 20. So so next year when my mission finish, I guess he will go too. Can go. Yeah. Okay. He wants me to leave, so I will leave you. He wants me to open the door and he's calling, let's go. So I will leave you. So another thing, well, this is like a summary of the history of why it's so important for me next month and why it's so important for all of us. And just to remind you that this is not the unique moment that we have to do this, that we have done this many times before and we will keep doing it. So yeah. So this is the context of everything. So tomorrow we can begin to explain exactly the network and the nodes, specifically the nodes. Okay. Um, so thank you everybody for being here, and as always, See you tomorrow at the same time.